Hey guys, Dave Rubin says, I've been trying to be as reconciliatory as possible, but it's hard when the people who call us all Nazis pretend they had nothing to do with any of this. And this, of course, meaning Charlie Kirk's assassination. So I just read Cenk's video titles about Charlie and Trump back to him. It went as well as you would expect. And we're going to listen to this video. But first, I want us to pay attention to MSNBC's talking points. Okay. Now, MSNBC, okay, the blood hadn't dried on the ground yet before they started smearing Charlie's good name. So when they tell you, well, we're not giving hateful rhetoric, it's you guys doing it. There's copious evidence out there that they're the ones doing this. Okay, so when the frustration, and as a Christian, I have to take this and give it to the Lord in prayer, because it's true that we're angry, but the Bible tells us that we should be angry and not sin. So there's no swearing, there's no cuss words, there's no inciting anyone to violence. All of this should simply give you a very strong resolve. So here's MSNBC, and listen to what they say.
But this is a war. This isn't a battle. And we absolutely will win this war.
Now, they're the ones calling this a war.
It is a war. It is indeed a war. And I have to say, they have won some battles, Jasmine, but we have to keep our eye on the war, and everybody needs to pick up a weapon and get involved, because this is for the safety and lasting of the country.
Yeah, they claim that it's for the safety and lasting of the country, and they're advocating for their constituents who are largely, morally disturbed, because most of them don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in Christianity. They believe in self-care, self-help, and because there's no help in self, they're all struggling. And I'm not saying that to mock them. It's just the way it is. They're struggling. And these are people who are angry and looking for someone to blame. And when they listen to an outlet like MSNBC saying, go pick up a weapon, what do you think they're hearing from you? Again, MSNBC, less than 2 weeks before the assassination, MSNBC making fun of Charlie Kirk, calling him a coward. All right, now listen to this.
Charlie Kirk, this is my prime example of MAGA men operating in fear. He is the biggest titty baby on the planet. Last month,
Can you just define for us? I was going to say, can you define that? Can we get a quick sidebar titty baby definition?
Titty baby is a southern phrase, with the baby on the boob that never weans. Okay, so Charlie Kirk is the biggest titty baby. He was in New York City a few weeks ago, and he put on his Twitter, that guy who's giving Taylor Swift unsolicited advice, he put, I've been in New York all weekend and I haven't felt safe once. And I'm like, I've been in New York for 5 days. I've ridden the subway. I've been all up and down. I haven't felt unsafe. Not one time, Charlie Kirk. But these men advertise their cowardice. What he did, that was a profile in cowardice. We should give him an award for that. That is the most pathetic thing.
Yeah, so these are people who are so removed from reality, okay, surrounded by private security, and trying to double down on a narrative that leftist policies work, in spite of the fact that crime is sky high, repeat offenders are walking the streets. It is their vision and mission in life to continue to say this is working, even though the city behind them is burning. Now, with that in perspective, let's listen to Dave Rubin, okay? And Dave Rubin is going to give us a breakdown. Look, this is what they've been saying. They've been using these highlights. They've been, antagonizing conservatives. They've been saying things that aren't true. And then Dave Rubin just tells us as it is.
It seems to me that everyone agrees that Donald Trump is not Hitler and his supporters are not Nazis. So with that in mind, I'd like to read some other headlines. These are video titles from Cenk's channel. And if in the spirit of reconciliation, maybe he wants to delete these things. Trump cuts anti-Nazi program. Trump spreading Nazi propaganda. Nazis encouraged by Trump's Charlottesville response. Trump defends Nazis, very fine people. That is the biggest political hoax ever. Trump retweets a neo-Nazi again. Trump disappoints neo-Nazi supporters.
Now, if you're watching Cenk is shaking his head. And that is a classic, physical posture that lets you know that none of what you're saying is getting through his head.
So these things don't come out of nowhere. I only blame one person at the end of the day for these murders, which is the crazy person who does the murders. But pretending that what is wildly asymmetrical, I think I have laid that out with evidence here, pretending that it's symmetrical is deeply, deeply dangerous. Piers, you know this because we've discussed it on my show. Even on your show, you have found it way more difficult to find rational, decent people on the left who will explain themselves thoughtfully and calmly and everything else, while the panoply of people you get on the right who shouldn't even be on the right, I would say certainly someone like me, I don't know exactly where Batya considers herself, but people with a variance of political opinions that now broadly are part of the MAGA thing is because of what I just read you, the endless hysteria of the left that has ginned up people to do crazy things.
And when you look at it, okay, so someone might be listening and they might be saying, okay, so conservatives or right-leaning people also call some of these people on the left socialists and communists. And my answer to that is yes, because there's evidence. Okay, when they open their mouths and speak, the things that they are asking the country to take up as policy are socialist and communist policies. And then you listen to them historically for at least 5 to 10 years, and they've been saying the same thing. Those are socialist and communist policies. But when a network stands up and says this person is a Nazi, and you know what the word Nazi means? The word Nazi means is a translation of National Socialist Party. So when people just open up their mouths and say stuff that, honestly, it's hard for me to believe that they don't know what they're saying, but they do. All right. So essentially, conservatives could easily be the ones calling the people on the other side Nazis, but they don't, because they know that words are powerful and that you can't simply just attribute a word to someone when you don't have evidence of what that word is or being carried out by them. So you have people on the conservative side saying the same thing, but with evidence. But there's no evidence when the other side does it.
It's not to say you can't say the worst things. You want to say the worst things, Donald Trump's a Nazi. It's so tough to say. You want to say that, go ahead and say it. It falls on the person who pulls the trigger. But if we're all sitting here saying, yeah, it's not true that Donald Trump's a Nazi and it's not true that his supporters are Nazis and he's not Hitler and all of those things, well, then before you get to reconciliation, a little bit of a mea culpa by some of us might be valuable.
Cenk?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is disgusting. So this guy pretending to do conciliation,
You're
and
right.
I was going to be...
So Cenk doesn't start by addressing what Dave is asking for. Dave is saying, look, you guys have these titles up on your channel. A nice move would be take these channels or take these videos down, because it's all of this that has added to the overwhelming belief that people who side with Donald Trump, who agree with him, are Nazis and are a danger to democracy. But Cenk's opening salvo is saying that what Dave has just said is disgusting. He's deflecting from the actual subject of the conversation, and we're going to see more of this, because if this is how he opens up, I don't think he's going to agree that his videos should be taken off. I haven't seen this video yet, so let's see what he does. But I don't think he's going to agree to take down the videos, and I don't think he's going to take a position of repentance to say, okay, we shouldn't have done that. We're going to make a change in the way we do things, because we clearly see that there are consequences to these words and actions.
Towards Dave, if I spoke first. But apparently, that's not what he's doing at all. So what he's trying to do is get people angry in a misleading way against me, Are you trying to
Are
get
those
people
your
to be
titles?
violent?
Are those the titles
this
of your
is
videos?
disgusting.
No.
So no.
that's-
Let me explain.
no.
Let me explain.
Those are your titles,
No,
buddy.
let me explain. You're asking me a goddamn question, so let me explain while you're trying to get people to do violence against me. You're disgusting.
So Cenk is doing the classic leftist thing. Sorry, Cenk. This isn't going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. Raising your voice and accusing someone of trying to get people to do violence against you isn't going to work. We heard the question, and the question was, are you going to take these videos down? And the easy thing would have said, was, okay, oh yes, definitely. I think it's time for us to kind of tone down the rhetoric and so on. That's how to do it, Cenk. Now, if you think or if you agree with me that that's basically the right way to diffuse this whole situation, let me know in the comment section. Or do you agree with Cenk to where he's raising his voice and trying to deflect on actual facts, because Dave just read back his titles to him. So so let's see what more Cenk has to say.
So those are 80% of those titles. I've never called Trump a Nazi, and those titles were about neo-Nazi reactions. So what do you want us to do? Not tell you what's actually happening? And so look,
did Donald Trump side with neo-Nazis?
Yes, he did say that.
Incident in Charlottesville.
So as we
how about you handle this one instead of giving it to me? Piers,
can I just talk? So this monster.
So let's understand the reason why there's this animosity between Cenk and Dave, because Cenk is peeved that Dave resigned from the Young Turks years ago and started his own network. It's an ongoing feud between these two organizations, and every time they're on the show, they will always be at each other's throats. So just the background on why it appears like this isn't making any sense, because it's a simple question and a simple answer would be, yeah, I think so. But Cenk is taking it really personal, maybe because it's coming from Dave, or maybe this is just his standard response to someone pointing out the fact that he needs to change something about the way he does his news.
What is
trying to egg on violence?
What did Donald Trump say after very
and he won't
people?
even let
I'm
me
not
talk.
talking about the neo-Nazis or the white supremacists who condemn completely. It's the biggest debunked conspiracy theory of all time. You're still pushing that now? You're still pushing the very fine people hoax now? I'm shocked even for you.
Dave, shut up and let me answer your stupid question. So on that day, which now we're going back to that for no goddamn reason other than you're trying to get people angry at me for misleading things.
I'm reading your titles. You should be angry at your titler.
He did. Shut up and let me answer. So did he say there are very fine people on both sides? He did. So that's a fact. Now, who was he referring to? As we've explained on the Young Turks, he might have been referring to the people who were in favor of the Confederacy and came out there to support Confederate generals. I didn't find that to be any better.
Well, for those of you who haven't watched the video, Trump clearly said he wasn't referring to the neo-Nazis and the far-right people. He did explain that in that video. Okay, so Cenk is really trying to defend his position, trying to claim ignorance, and honestly, I'm not buying it. Let me know if you're buying it in the comment section.
Those people were in favor of slavery. Those people lynched black people. So I'm not going to ever cheerlead for them, and I'm not ever going to shut
Jake,
up
in the very next sentence, did he say, I'm not talking about the white supremacists
so
or
you're
the
not going to get
neo-Nazis
me to
who should
shut
be
up,
condemned totally.
and you are...
All right, so here's what we're going to be seeing over the next few days and possibly the next few weeks. This wound with Charlie Kirk's murder runs very deep. Why does it run so deep for a lot of people? One, Charlie Kirk was the center, like he was the center. He was the center. He was one who was bridging the gap between Democrats and Republicans, or what you say is right-leaning people and left-leaning people. He was the one who was the center, trying to have cordial conversations with them. But he got murdered. And when you find leftist or left-leaning outlets saying that, that they're so sad, and then they immediately flip to beginning to try to smear his name, it tells you that, one, they totally are not remorseful about his killing. Two, they see it as a political win. Honestly, they see it as a political win, because if they were to thoroughly condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk and leave it there, they would lose their political base, because when you go to social media, you see how people on social media are celebrating, and that is their base. And if they are to in any way show sympathy or empathy to Charlie Kirk, they would lose that base. So they are maintaining the narrative by putting in a caveat right after they say, well, the killing was bad. But then they begin the smear campaign against Charlie Kirk because they are trying to keep their political base happy. Was this a political killing? Yes, it was. With no due respect, and I want to say this very mildly, with no due respect to the likes of D.L. Hughley, who say that he wasn't a politician and it wasn't a political killing. This was entirely politically motivated, because once you begin to call someone MAGA, it is political. Once you begin to call someone right-wing, it is political. Once you begin to call someone conservative, it is political. So let's not allow the talking heads try to spin us around and confuse us. This was a political killing that was egged on by left-wing media. They're trying to backtrack, meanwhile sidestep the backtrack so that they keep their own base happy. And then we have to wake up to the fact that, these are the games that they play. These are the games they play. And to be honest, it's time to just, not play that game with them anymore. All right. So Cenk's take on it is simply to rage and to try to deflect and try to attack Dave for simply asking questions that are very relevant to what happened in the last couple of days. Now, let me know in the comment section what you think about, the videos that I showed earlier with evidence of how MSNBC has, had been covering conversations around engaging conservatives, how they call for violence, pick up your weapons and go and fight. It's war. And now you have you have some of them saying, oh, conservatives shouldn't say we're at war. But they're the ones who've been saying that we're at war. They've been saying it for months. They've said it for months. And do you know what? They believe it. Now that it got real and they know what is possible with the conservatives, they want to backtrack and say, oh, you guys shouldn't be saying it's a war because now you guys are pushing violence. That's what they want to do. It's a mind game. It's a game they've been playing for over 15 years, and we recognize it now, and we're not playing that game anymore. Anyone who gets up and says, oh, you're a Nazi, it's time for them to get called out. It's time for them to get the consequences of defaming you. It's time to call it out. Call it out. All right. If someone continues to push this narrative that Democrats have to, arm themselves and get out in the faces of people and punch them and kick them, I'm going to do a video after this, and you're going to see a montage of people saying the most stupid things. And they are the same ones who are going to come out to say, well, the violent rhetoric is coming from the right. All right. There's evidence. There's decades of evidence of them doing this. So it's time to start digging up the archives, showing them the mirror, and you know what? Refusing to give any more ground. It's time to take back ground. It's time to, begin to insist that common sense rules in the world once again. Let me know what you think of this video and everything that I've said, my reactions in the comment section. And if you've watched this long, you're a super fan. I consider you a super fan, and I would like to invite you to please consider signing up, joining the membership on the YouTube channel, because I want to connect with you. I believe that if you've listened this long, there's a seed in your heart to become someone who equally does maybe the same thing that I'm doing, or contributes or figures out how you can be more supportive of my channel, and becoming a member is one way of supporting my channel and encouraging me to keep doing these videos and actually getting better at doing these videos. If you're watching this video on the unmonetized channel, because I have several channels, if you're looking at the subscriber count and it's less than 1,000, then it's not monetized. Send a comment in put a comment in the comments section and ask me, for the link to join the membership, and I'll shoot over the link to you and you can join the membership so we can have real conversations. There are videos I can't make for the public, or I will not make for the public, but I will make for you. And those videos will not just be videos about the news, but we'll actually be having real conversations and possibly even set up some online meetups where we can have these real conversations together, and while looking at what's going on, in culture, news, and politics. Thanks for being a part of this, and until next time, God bless you.